purpose of this session is, as I was briefed, to have the audience, I'm sure most of you do understand already, get a broader sense of where is India's innovation journey, where does it come from, and where is it going? And especially our role as a subsidiary of the Reserve Bank of India, our Reserve Bank Innovation Hub. So I have a short presentation to keep it more anchored. Meanwhile, it is pulled up. I want to start with the fact that, as you are aware, India is one of the best known markets, or has perhaps the best digital stack, as we would call it, which the government of India calls it as digital public goods. We can proudly say that India has built this digital infrastructure uniquely, and this was led by none less than the government of India itself. So as you heard that I was part of the founding team. So the India digital infrastructure is a big enabler for anything that we have seen in the last decade in terms of innovation, in terms of fintech revolution that we talk about. So, yeah. So this is not new to most of you. We are aware that from no ID, India leapfrogged to an digital ID, and today 1.3 billion Indians can proudly prove themselves who they are through a digital mechanism in a span of less than 10 years. And as you are aware, today you can open an instant bank account, get an instant tax ID, get an instant mutual fund, or anything else, as most of the regulators have allowed, using electronic KYC, which is currently at scale, and few billion transactions have already been processed. If I remember the last number, I think 1.3 billion people, each of us has done at least 2 to 3 transactions. I think the last number was 5 to 7 billion transactions. UPI obviously has a digital rails for payments. Again, most of the people are aware. And then DigiLocker, which ensures that you and I need not carry documents in our pocket anymore. We can straight away produce our phone. My colleagues with me, they do it at the airport. I'm still, old school, so sometimes I do take out my physical ID. But most of the young generation take out your phone, and on the DigiLocker, you have your Aadhaar, you have your tax ID, you have your driving license, your anything else that you want, which is linked to the ID, is available. And obviously for democratization of lending, as Aneen also mentioned, Standard Chartered is one of the banks which is leading the implementation and adoption of account aggregator, which ensures that data with a bank, my data and your data at a bank, is shareable by me or basis a consent artifact to be leveraged for any credit product I want from any other institution. So I just put out some of the big things out there. UPI, as you know, we do about 7 billion transactions a month and growing at a rapid pace. The world's, if I can take the liberty of saying, lowest cost instant payment system, as far as I know. Brazil has done well, but India's is a open digital infrastructure where third-party applications like PhonePe, Google Pay, Amazon Pay, anybody can start deploying their UPI app and take it to scale. As you're all aware, and there'll be a lot of discussion, there is a growth of Indian fintechs, whether it's lending, consumer lending, SME lending, B2B lending. So I'll tell you where we come in. We were found as a wholly owned subsidiary of the RBI about 1.5 years back. And we are based out of Bangalore, just to drive home the point that we are actually in the fintech capital of India. And our mission is very simple words: frictionless finance for 1 billion Indians. That's that. So that's our mission. And our motto being innovation, inclusion, and impact. So innovation, not just for the sake of innovation, but to ensure that nobody left behind. Every adult Indian can get access to frictionless financial services in a matter of minutes. And it includes you and me. I wish I was there. I could have given you a lot of examples how my bank does not give me a great experience. The bank with a private bank, so what? leading to inclusion and create real impact and ensure that all of these lead to a developed economy, a 5 trillion and subsequently a $10 trillion economy. What are the three pillars of innovation we come in, and how do we dovetail all of this into the digital stack that India has built? So first and foremost is process innovation. That if we look at the friction which exists for large segments of population, whether it is the farmers, whether 120 million farmers. I do know that there are some FMCG companies sitting there. There are perhaps consumer companies out there who would understand that rural India is also driving India's growth, one of the most important engines. But for that growth to happen, we need to ensure that the rural India can access financial services seamlessly. But what we observe, I'll give you an example of a project which we have launched, is that we did a survey and figured out what is the friction for a farmer to get a loan of $2,000. The shocking news was that a farmer makes 4 to 5 visits to a bank branch. It takes 3 to 4 weeks to get that loan, and it also is entirely paper based. The question we asked ourselves when we came back to the drawing board, we all proudly talk about India's digital journey, India's digital stack. Whom is it benefiting? Was it built only for you and me? Wasn't it supposed to benefit every Indian in the country? So and I'll talk about it, maybe I'll talk about it here, itself as an example of process innovation. We came to the drawing board, we spoke to a few banks, a few fintechs, and we redesigned the entire customer journey to make it straight through. So today what happens is instead of a long 4 to 5 weeks, it takes less than an hour for somebody to get a loan through a STP journey or a straight through processing journey. We already launched pilots in 2 states. We are going to go live with other states. Then product innovation. Product innovation is, don't mind me saying, I'm sure a lot of bankers are sitting in the room. In India and globally, most of the financial sector players offer the product as they want to offer, not the way I want, when I want, through what channel I want. So I'll give you an example. So a daily wage earner would want to tailor make a product which is repayable on a daily basis. A weekly wage earner would want to tailor a product basis their weekly economic flows. Do any financial institutions offer that tailor-made products? Unfortunately, not that we know of. Let's take the example of a dairy farmer. A dairy farmer pours milk daily. The dairy farmer can potentially repay daily. Is that happening? There is a challenge out there. So that's one example of product innovation. They normally work with the government of India, state government, to look at policy innovation. So connecting the dots. In the beginning, we spoke about India's digital stack. Where do we come in? We come in as the final puzzle, completing the puzzle, because we can actually, and we are bringing all possible stakeholders together to create a shared vision, to achieve a multiplier effect, because academia is trying to do something. Banks such as Standard Chartered, obviously one of the most digital banks, they're trying to do things. Technology companies, banks, NBFCs. I see my friend Koshi sitting there. ONDC is doing a lot in democratizing commerce, and we see investors are there in the room. So what is happening is we are bringing all of these together and creating a shared vision, creating a multiplier effect. I am re-emphasizing it because each of us working in silos does not get us the right effect. And we are working closely with everyone to create the impact. How do we work is a question I've been asked since about 1.5 years since I joined as the founding CEO. So I thought we'll clarify it for the audience. How do we get problem statements to work on? A lot of people ask me when I meet them every week. Do we know all the problem statements? No. Do we know all the solutions? Definitely no. So we work with the industry, we work with banks, fintechs, we work with academia to look at what is the problem statement which is high impact and impacts a number of people, where technology and innovation can play a critical role in reducing friction. That's the problem statement identification. The example I told you, some of the other work we are doing on video KYC, emerging tech, all comes from a problem statement. It comes from one of our stakeholders, as you saw. Then we sit together, we brainstorm, ideate, do whiteboarding, and then we actually try and incubate the idea, leading to pilots and scale up. As simple as this. We bring everybody together, think of problems, think of solutions. And I'm sure if a lot of us put our minds together, nothing is an intractable problem, and that's what we do. We also are enabling using data to create better financial products. Because we are a subsidiary of RBI, we are able to unlock a lot of data which exists in silos, especially with the governments. So one of the biggest unlocking that has happened is of land records. There has been gradual digitization of land records in India, but there is no direct API integration between the financial system and the land records of states. So already it's live in 2 states, it's going live in few other states, and we will unlock the value of land records as an asset class for the financial system. And a lot more data. I can continuously talk about it. Enable instant credit, obviously work towards tailored investments with the help of all of you. Instant affordable insurance, because we also work closely with IRDA. Actually, I'm in Hyderabad, we had a meeting with IRDA. And ensure that not just the 300 million middle class, but also the next half billion gets access to credit. Now, this is the last slide. What are the big program areas we are working on? I give you an example of process innovation, which will be part of consumer experience, because our hypothesis is consumer at the center of innovation. So with that, we are working on emerging tech. We are launching a hackathon soon with IIT Madras Research Park on voice-based banking. What does that mean? It means that I can speak to my bank app in any vernacular language and order a payment to be made to Koshi. Koshi, sorry, I'm catching you there. I saw you. Koshi, just say in Hindi, English, Tamil, Telugu, Bangla that, please pay. So we are working to ensure that is the only way digital stack of India, the digital innovations in India can be leveraged to ensure frictionless finance for 1 billion Indians. And then we are obviously, gender is a very important work for us. How do we ensure that the financial sector wears a gendered lens or has a gender approach to financial products? For this, we have a big Sonari program. We are launching a few things next month, the Sonari program, and I don't want to go into details of that. We obviously do incubation with our partner IITs, IIMs, and gradually we know that if we have to deepen and widen finance in India, we have to build improved trust, and we are working on some pieces of trust stack. With this, I'll end. Thank you so much for an opportunity given to us to present.